Okay, so on this deck assignment, we're looking at transformation still, but looking now at domain and range of a function. If you notice here, I went ahead and pulled up Desmos Graphing Calculator, which you'll see on the paper. So you can click on the link and it'll pop up right away for you. Okay, so use the graphing calculator to help you solve these problems. Okay, so I'm doing the examples, and the examples are associated with the problem next to it on the left. Okay, so here I'm going to look at this is my parent function, f of x is equal to square root of x. So I'm going to type it here. So you see I'm going to type in the square root of x right there, and there's my parent function. Okay, then on the next box below it, I'm going to type in the transformation here. So I'm going to do the square root of x. I'm going to cursor out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cursor outside so I don't write inside, and minus 2. Okay, that's my function. So what happened? It was up here originally, and what did it do? It went down. Okay, so this is my transformation. I'm going to write down here, down 2. Okay, that's the only thing that happened. So what is my domain? My domain starts at 0 and it goes all the way, notice it goes all the way to the right. See how it keeps on going and going and going? I go on forever, right? So if I go back to where my graph started, it started at 0, and then where did it go? It went all the way to infinity. So let me look for that, more symbols. So where's my infinity symbol here? There it is. And that's where I start. That's where I start, but that's my domain. It goes from 0 all the way to infinity. But where does my range start? My range would have started at 0 for the parent function, but instead it starts at -2. So I'm going to write down -2, comma, infinity. Because notice that it's not only is it going to the right, but it's also going where? It's going up. See? It keeps going up, keeps going up, keeps going up. Okay, so it's rising above the x-axis steadily. Okay? And that's all you have to do. Okay? So that's this part of the example. See, this is example 1. Okay, when you see it, you'll see that I have example 1, and it's right next to actual problem number 1. Okay? So let's take a look at problem number 2, or example 2. If I look at example 2, here's my function. So my parent function now is not square root of x, it is they call this the cube root. See how there's a 3 out here? That exponent on the outside of the radical sign means the cube root. So to put that into Desmos, I type in functions. Remember that miscellaneous part? And I go right underneath the percent sign, and there is a square root symbol with an n in front of it. I type that. So now on my actual calculator, you see here, okay, you see here, this is what's blinking now, okay? So you see what's blinking now in this effect. See that? That's what's blinking now, okay? So it's panning back out. I'm going to write 3 as my cube root, 3 cube root of x as my parent function, and that's what it looks like. Then on the next box below, I'm going to write down the actual transformation. Negative, press functions again, that nth root symbol, I'm going to type in 3, and this time it's going to be 2x. So that's my transformation. So what does it look like? The negative sign in front of it actually reflected about the x-axis. Reflect about y. Okay? So let me go ahead and move it over here. Oops. So reflected about y-axis. So sorry, this actually jumped over to the problem next to it. So it shouldn't look like this for that problem. Okay, this should be for this one over here. Okay, then what's my domain? My domain, okay, notice it goes left to right, keeps going forever left to right with no break. There's no discontinuity. There's no, okay, so I'm actually going to write from negative infinity. So negative infinity to positive infinity for that. And my range, same thing, goes up and down with no break. So if I can go this way, notice how it is starting from negative infinity from the y-axis, negative infinity going all the way through 0 and keeps going up. So it's still going to be the same. Okay? Okay, so the same thing for example 3, now going back to a square root function, you see this right out here. I'm going to quickly go through this. The transformation of this is 1/3. So this is what they call a vertical shrink. So it's a vertical shrink. Of, obviously it's going to be 1/3. And what else is happening? You also have going to the right 2. It will go to the right 2 as well. Okay, so hopefully that you see that there. So you see where it says negative 2 inside the radical, that means right 2. You see the 1/3 on the outside, that's a vertical shrink of 1/3. Okay, so we were to graph this function. Square root of x minus 2. That's what our function looks like there. So notice how it's starting here at the right. See? Starts from the right of the origin, 2 units. And it is 1/3. It is 1/3 as big as the original function. So here's the original function. See that? So that's the original function. Look how small it looks now. Okay? And that's what that means. The domain is still the same as this guy, 0 to infinity from example 1. And my range is the same as my domain. My domain is not the same. Okay? My domain starts now, since it's right 2, it starts at 2, comma, and it goes to infinity. Okay, this one starts at 0. See here, this is starting at the 0 mark, okay, at y. 0, and so even though it looks like it's touching the x-axis, it's touching the x-axis at y equal to 0, and then starting to move up. So 0, comma, infinity. Okay? Hope that helps you out there. So, the next one. Now you have exponents. Well, what does that mean? What does something raised to the 1/2 power mean? Something raised to the 1/2 power is the same thing as writing it as a root. Okay? So if I were, so for example, let's take a look at this one. Your f of x function is x to the 1/2. X, okay, I'm going to raise it to the 1 divided by 2. Hey, take a look. Both of these graphs are right on top of each other. That means this is the same thing. Okay? So wherever I see, you see this 2 in the bottom right there? That is the same thing as this. So to give you another hint, what if this was a 3 instead of a 2? Then that's what that's going to look like. And if I do this to this function, to write it as a radical, x to the 1/3 power is really saying the 3rd root of x. Okay? If I say x to the 1/4 power, then that's the 4th root of x. So notice here, notice these two are the same. It's coming down. These are the equivalent representations.